Okay, we are live. We are both in the Intentional Growth Club, my Facebook community, and on the Gen Quest Facebook page. And I have two amazing women. I told you all that this is a dynamic duo, and I am so excited to have both of these ladies joining me today. And they bring a secret special piece those business essentials. They kind of have their own secret sauce because they are both themselves entrepreneurs and business owners. And so I want you to meet both of these fabulous ladies, my dynamic duo for the day. So Annette, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself first, and then we'll go to Leigh.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Annette Szobar. I am an advanced certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. My business is AMS Office Solutions. And what I do is I help small businesses get organized. I help them customize their software, work with tons of businesses in all sorts of different industries, get a lot of referrals from CPAs. I don't replace your CPA, but I work in conjunction with your CPA to help you set up your system so that it works not only as for taxes, but also as a business tool.
Amazing. Thank you, Annette. And now, Miss Leigh, introduce yourself.
Well, good morning. Leigh Perry with Legal Shield and ID Shield. And I have a varied background in business, nonprofit, kind of all over the board. And what I do now is represent Legal Shield. And we partner with a law firm in every state in the union and everywhere in Canada so that we provide access for individuals, families, and small businesses to get their questions answered and get assistance affordably. It's a membership. So I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on TV, but we partner with attorneys.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So both of you have some amazing tips that tie in to these business essentials between the legal and the financial piece today. So Leigh, why don't you take it away with your tips? And I want people to ask questions. And I see that we may have a couple of comments just saying hello and good morning to you ladies, you dynamic duo. So Leigh, why don't you give your tips and then we'll move back to Annette.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jen. Well, what we do is collectively, we have a membership that you pay a small monthly fee, and then you have a law firm on retainer, which is pretty fantastic. My first tip is your big business organized correctly? And the reason it's important, just getting started, are you going to be a DBA, an LLC, an S Corp? Do you even know what those are? Do you even know what questions to ask? Well, two people you need to talk to about that are not your Uncle Joe and your Aunt Samantha. It's call your attorney and talk to your CPA. And sometimes what'll happen is they may give you different answers. So you may need to do some evaluation there. And the reason I bring that up, Jen, as the first point is that sometimes people have started their companies and they started very, very small and now things have changed or they need to reassess that. We provide a package if you don't even know where to start, where you can pay the attorneys to do everything for you, even get your business license, your identity, depending on what state you're in, everything set up, or they can tell you what to do. And an important thing that's included with all of our memberships for small businesses is we do document review at no additional cost, up to 15 pages. As you know, I think you've used that. But that's great because if you do know what you're doing and you just need some additional help, then you can fill out the forms, send them to your law firm. They'll review them and get back to you within 2 to 3 business days on those reviews. When you call and ask a question, you get a call back within 4 business hours from the appropriate attorney that you need to speak with. So that's pretty amazing too. Yeah. My tip number 2 is don't shoot for perfection right off the bat. Too many of us, especially those of us that are female, have a tendency to strive for perfection, and we get mired down in the minutia when we just need to start. So if you've got a package available to you that can get you started with the basics, basic website, basic customer relationship management system, basic expense tracking, as my friend Annette will talk to you about more in depth. Just a way to get started. We do have a package like that. Get started, and then you can hire the professionals to take you to the next level where it's appropriate. My point number 3 is be proactive. Don't wait. No problem gets better waiting. no issue, especially legal. It's like missing a payment on your credit card. They're not going to stop assessing fees. It's just going to pile on and pile on and pile on and get worse and worse and worse. So address it, and having a way that you can contact someone to ask a question. The Facebook community is great for referrals, but not necessarily for answering legal questions effectively. Sometimes quickly, but not necessarily correctly. And then my fourth point is, what's your exit strategy? You know, those of us that are entrepreneurs never want to think about what about the end? How do we know when we're at the point where we need to say, okay, enough? If we're new into the business, you know, 2 to 3 years and things aren't working, how do we exit? What do we do? What steps do we need to take? And it's important to have legal advice on that. And if you are successful, you still need a succession plan, right? You know, 20 years down the road, those of us that don't have kids, what are we going to do with our businesses, right? Or if you do have children, maybe there's some family that's appropriate to be involved with the business, and maybe there's some not. How do you make those decisions? How do you do it so that it's the best for the business and best for the family? So those are my 4 tips. Is your business organized correctly? Number 2, don't shoot for perfection off the top. Number 3, be proactive, don't wait. And number 4, what's your exit strategy?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Leigh. If you have questions, be sure to pop them into the chat so that I can actually see that in the feed on my system here. And then we'll move to Annette, because she has some really very powerful suggestions that some small business owners might be guilty of actually not following right out of the gate. So take it away, Annette.
Well, my first tip is to have a financial system. Now, I've been doing this since 2006. Prior to that, I was a small business owner myself. And there is literally no small business owner, unless you're a bookkeeper or a CPA, there's no small business owner who went into business in order to sit at a computer all day and track their finances. But you still have to do it. And it doesn't really matter what system you choose. Now, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, so I'm very partial to QuickBooks. But, you know, if you're just getting started and maybe you have a very simple service business, you know, maybe that's an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe it's tracking things on paper. It really doesn't matter the system, as long as you're consistent with it and organized. You need to be organized. You can spend a gazillion dollars on a financial system, but if you're not keeping it updated regularly, or if you're putting the information in wrong, you know, you might as well flush that money down the toilet. So you want to create a system that you're going to be able to use, and you're going to be able to use it all the time. My second tip is to create a system that not only works for taxes, but also works as a business tool. You know, most of us think about, you know, I deal with so many businesses, especially the really small ones, who at the end of the year, or actually not even at the end of the year, more like in February, they're putting all of their receipts together for the previous year. And that's great for taxes, but that didn't help you make decisions back the year before. Because if you're keeping track of everything, if you're trying to figure out, where is my money coming from? You know, what services are most profitable? How much am I spending where? Then you're able to manage your business and make better business decisions if you use it more as a business tool. My third tip is to, you know, get some expert help. I have worked with business owners who haven't finished high school. I've worked with business owners who have multiple degrees. And it's kind of funny because all of them have the same questions. They all have the same problems. They all went into business for a particular thing. They're good at whatever it is they do, but they're not good at the accounting portion, or they're not good at maybe their marketing portion or the legal portion. So you have to develop that team behind you. And is it going to cost money? Yes, it's going to cost some money. You know, that is money well spent to get some expert help to make sure that you are doing things properly. So you want to be able to get that done. And the sooner you get it done, the better, because like building a house, you want that foundation to be strong rather than building it on sand. So many times I get involved, 3 years after they've started, and there's so many mistakes, so many errors that they made, so many bad judgments they've made, bad decisions they've made because they didn't have the right information. So the sooner you get that expert help, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, very good. So what questions do we have from those of you that are catching this live? Is there anything in particular that maybe you keep thinking that you need to get the answer of, but you haven't either found the time or maybe haven't had the courage to ask the question? This is the no dumb question zone, right? Because this is the key thing. We know we're the experts in what we do, but we need to talk about how do I get the answers on what I'm not expert in. And both of these ladies, if they don't know the answer, they know a way to help you get the answer to that question. And I know back last fall when I did an event for women entrepreneurs and leaders, a lot of the questions stem from that, how do I just get started? When you're getting launched. And in this time right now, we've just come through a pretty significant crisis. People have not got yet back to whatever the new normal is. We are still doing a lot of, social distancing. Our businesses might still be in a very different place than it was just a few months ago. Or maybe we've decided that we need to actually go out and pursue some other kind of adventure and take that entrepreneurial path. So where do we even get started, right? And so we have a couple of questions, and someone asked, how do you choose the right marketing people? But I think that we if you go back to my Monday live with Mackenzie Schmidt from Town Square Media, she can actually help you get started in that arena. But do either one of you have any recommendations on that piece? Because you talked about you have to have the people behind you. Have you learned anything in that arena yourself at this time?
Well, I would say, Jen, you and I met networking, and that's a really great way. And, I said the Facebook community. If you're in a networking group on the Facebook community, ask people who have used it. It's no different than building a house. You're going to ask everybody that's built a new home, what contractor did you use? How was that experience? Were they great? You do the same thing for all your services that you need for your business. And if you're brand new and just thinking about starting, then find somebody who's just getting started and see how their experience was, because different people have different niches, however you say it. And so there may be somebody that works especially well with startups and somebody else that's really great with taking you to the next level. So I don't know, Annette, you may have some additional input on that.
Yeah, actually, networking is great. Also, if you're just starting, take a look at a local chamber of commerce. You will find people there. And talk to several different people, because as Leigh said, everybody has their own little niche, and someone's niche may be really good at what they do, but maybe it's not, their expertise is not in your area. So you want to find someone who's going to help you in your area.
Yeah. Being able to find out someone's experience that's in the same industry can be extremely valuable, because then that way you can learn their best practices, what worked, what didn't work, and if they had to do it again, what would they do the next time around? Those are some really good questions that we can always ask our friends. But of course, those are the experts that we probably should also ask, because not everyone knows the functionality, and marketing is a huge, broad topic, and every business needs to market themselves. But how you choose to market yourself is really dependent upon who your audience is, and where your people play, where your perfect client plays, right? And or they hang out, if you will.
Jen, that's an awesome point. And one of the things that brought to mind is I have a friend in a completely different industry, and she found someone, she lives in the Midwest, but found somebody in California that is top in that industry. And so she models some of what that woman in California is doing and
Mhm.
uses that as kind of a touch point for where do I want to be? How do I want to get there?
Yeah, excellent. So there is a question, but I know because neither one of you are an expert regarding the tax question we've got is, are the fees for these services tax deductible? So I think that they're referencing the service to use you, Annette, the service to purchase Legal Shield. Are they tax deductible? Can you at least refer the answer to the correct party to be answered?
I can say that. Yes, they are. You're going to find when you consult with a CPA or even with, the law firm, business deductions are very tax deductible. Now, you also have to be a little bit careful because I have people that go out and spend a gazillion dollars and say, oh, well, it's tax deductible, but you need to deduct that from income. But yes, there's a lot of business deductions that are tax deductible that you don't even know about. And that's why you want to consult with an expert.
Excellent. Thank you very much. What other questions do we have? You can tap into these ladies. Like I said, both of them have been running their own business. So it might be that it's not necessarily specific into the arena that we're talking today, or their tips, but maybe it's just about what their own experience has been as a business owner and what they've learned on their journey. And, and one of the things that I know that I personally learned, and Annette kind of hit on this, is that if we don't monitor the outputs, the money going out on a regular basis, then we can get ourselves into trouble. And I was telling her just yesterday, as we were talking about our conversation today, I said, we as entrepreneurs, we like bright, shiny, new, fandangled things, right? And when it says, hey, it's only $10 to sign up for this every month, no big deal. But those $10 and $15 or $30 things start to add up. And going back to what Annette was saying is, if you don't have that tracking mechanism in place where you can see really what's happening, what's going out each month, you don't really have a good handle on the income that you're really making, that you're truly making from your business. Any thoughts on that, ladies? Have you found there's anything else that you have learned during this time frame that you're really reevaluating with your own personal business?
One of the things I would also encourage people is, I have so many clients, and I was guilty of this too at one point in my life, where I looked at my business health as the balance of the checkbook. If there was money in the bank, then I was obviously doing okay. But when you start looking at the money, when you start looking at what's coming in, where it's from, what's going out, what it's paying for, you get a better picture. And even that money coming in, you may be spending all your time working with clients that aren't really profitable, or you may be spending all your time going to networking groups where you're not getting any business. So being able to track where you're getting your money from is just as important, really, as where you're spending your money. They're both income and outgo as to what is going on is very important.
Yeah.
Well, and I would add, as a solopreneur, we're still trading time for money for the most part. And if we're not tracking that time, and I know that I've had conversations with both of you about Calendly or a similar calendaring program, and I am implementing that as well, because what I realized was I had so much time leakage. We know that attorneys do billable hours. One of the cool things about Legal Shield and my service is that we prepay for all of that. They're on retainer, so we don't have to worry about it. But especially solopreneurs, as business owners, we have to know where our time is going. And if we're in a situation where we're growing our business, I know Annette works with a lot of small businesses that have employees. If they're adding employees, then they've got to have onboarding. They've got to have management of those employees, where if it's somebody like me, I'm just a solopreneur, then I need to manage my own time effectively and not let it get sucked away. And one of the other things we have to look at is and Annette is awesome at this, managing the organizations that she belongs to, where she's networking. she actually knows who her referrals are coming from. And that's another thing. Make sure that you are asking for and tracking your referrals. So manage your time and don't be afraid to use some sort of calendaring tool to figure that out.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more questions, and I'm going to show the next one to you all. How often should you be running reports and looking at your profit and loss, Annette?
A lot. I would suggest at the minimum would be monthly. I have a lot of small business owners literally who once a week they take a look at things. That way it forces them to keep things up to date. Don't just do it at the end of the year. It forces you to be consistent. I was actually very impressed with someone a while back. It was a husband and wife team. They actually had an MLM, and the two of them sat down every Saturday morning for an hour and looked at the picture of their finances. And they did that all on their own. And I was very impressed with that. Mm-hmm. So as often as you can.
Excellent. And she had another question for Leigh. Can the Legal Shield lawyers help us with thoughts on the liability when reopening our business during this time?
Absolutely. In fact, our attorneys all over the country have been working from home. And so about 40% of the questions that they've been having are related to the shutdown, to the virus, going back to work, reopening, what that looks like. And those are great questions to ask the law firm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very good. So other questions for these two ladies as we start to wrap up our segment for today. And then both of you, do you have any final thoughts, or, as you reviewed your tips for today, is there anything else that came to mind in regards to an example of how you've seen, good things happen, or maybe not so good things happen because of the steps that people have taken in examples?
Well, I think my point number 3, be proactive, don't wait. I have an example of a solopreneur who was opening her own business, and she was a franchisee and had some requirements to go through. The landlord started dodging her calls, and she was on a time schedule. So Legal Shield was able to get him to respond immediately. He still wasn't doing what he needed to. Told her exactly what to write in the email, got her out of that contract, and within a couple of days into a new space. And told what changes to make to that lease so that it was in her favor, not in somebody else's. So don't wait, get it going.
Yeah. I know. I feel better. I view my Legal Shield relationship as insurance, because it is truly insurance for the unforeseen that is a legal matter that might crop up, because I do work sometimes on contract. So I have contracts that I'm asked to sign. And as a solopreneur, I don't really want to sign those contracts until I know what that means to me, what my liability is. So I'm happy to have Legal Shield as that insurance, on retainer for $35 a month. You can't beat that cost as that small business writer and I have the personal stuff too. So Annette, any final thoughts from your tips too?
It's been interesting the last couple of months. I've helped a number of small business owners get the SBA PPP grants, and then also figure out ways of tracking them. The people that were organized to begin with and keeping their records timely, it really was really easy to fill out those applications. I mean, it seriously took minutes. The people that hadn't been proactive and gotten it done, it was very painful, very painful. And being able to track where that money was coming, where the money's going to be going, for the people that were used to doing it, it was just tweaking a little bit of what they were already doing, just making a few little adjustments here and there. So again, that really brings home the whole thing about being consistent, doing it on a regular basis, keeping things up to date.
Definitely. Definitely. Consistency is something we all need to practice in every aspect of our lives, but especially within our business, of just really getting that system in place, like you said, and being consistent. And it's across the board in all of our business practices. Now, these ladies have just given us a few tips today, but they're joining me on June 25th for our Successful Second Half virtual summit for business owners. And that's going to spend almost a whole hour in the afternoon, really diving deep into those systems and processes for you all. Because as small business owners, we really need to get those things answered, and we need to get clarity around that. Leigh is going to lead a lunchtime break. Really, we're going to look at that toolbox and all those tools that she has available to offer for people that are, especially that are the ones that are interested in now going down that entrepreneurial path. And I do have, of course, I'm going to remind you all how to get registered for that virtual summit on June 25th. And that is, you simply go to my website, / or whatever that is. I always get told I'm going the wrong direction. Success. And what that does is that gets you to the website, and then you can then get filled out, go in, and you can get your ticket. Remember, we still have an opportunity all the way through the midnight on Memorial Day to save $5. That means you're getting your ticket for just $42. And if you've shown up live this week by midnight tonight, if you have shown up live this week and you purchase your ticket, guess what? You get to go in the drawing for one of those 5 free all access passes. And what that gets you is that gets you the recording of all the sessions that you can have access to and re-listen to and go back to, because we don't get most of what we hear the first pass, right? If we don't take really good notes, and then sometimes we don't remember our notes, we don't remember what we were meaning when we wrote that down. This gives you the opportunity to, if you buy your ticket and you don't win one of the all access passes, guess what? I'll still make sure that you can go back and get the all access pass for just $25. And besides the recordings, there's going to be gifts from all the presenters. We're going to have some bonus training, and we're going to have a third quarter after party about success that we're all experiencing as entrepreneurs. So I know I'm a little fun and a little crazy with this, but I want you all to consider actively joining me, joining these ladies, joining some of the other presenters from this week of lives on June 25th. And really renew, get restarted, relaunch, and really revive your business as we come out of this time. So thank you all very much. If there's any final questions or comments, drop them now. If nothing else, I'll just let Leigh and Annette make any final comments before we exit today.
Well, thanks so much, Jen. Excited to be a part of this. I know I was part of your Focus 2020 last fall and really made some great friendships coming out of that and really re-energized me. I'm excited to be a part of this. Thanks for asking us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, thanks, Jen. This has been really fun, and it's been great working with some other entrepreneurs in different areas, and I'm looking really forward to it. It's expanding us virtually, so it's really cool.
The thing that none of us realized we were going to get out of this moment, right? Yes. And, that we were going to see possibilities that we didn't even explore before in our businesses. Mm-hmm. And those of us that have said, okay, you know what, this is something possible, this is great, let's just go for it. That's what we're doing. And so we want you all to come and join us for that as well. And Nina, who is actually going to join us, is part of a breakout during lunchtime. She's saying, me too. That's where I met both of you. I'm a lucky lady, talking about our 2020 in Focus session that we had last fall. So it's really about connection, about networking. And that's another thing. That's that side benefit you get from doing one of these events like what we're doing on June 25th. So that's all we have for you all today. I hope you've enjoyed this week of Entrepreneurial Essentials. If you want to get more, if you want to take deeper dives in any of the conversations we've had this week, you know how to do that. That's very simple. You just sign up, you join up this weekend by the end of Memorial Day, $42. It's really not that much. Think about how many times you spend $42 without thinking. You get to walk away with a day packed full of value that not only moves you forward, but your business forward as we exit this era that we're in. So thank you all today. Have a wonderful weekend and happy Memorial Day too.